What's up YouTube, Zazubaar here. Today I'm going to do something new, something fresh. Now as you guys know, I've been giving Godzilla the spotlight, doing nothing but praising his scaly ass, and talking about my hopes for the Legendary Pictures remake. But now I'm going to do something I've wanted to do for a long time. Review all the Godzilla films in a marathon fashion. But someone much more popular than me already did that. So I'm flipping it around, and instead I'm going to list my top 5 least favorite Godzilla films. Now I say least favorite because worst is taking it a little far. None of them are unwatchable, some are just better than others, and others just suck more than others. Now I'm not counting the American remake for obvious reasons, so this is an official list of my top 5 least favorite Godzilla films. So let's start this reptilian slamming fest with number 5. Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. Now I know Space Godzilla is considered by some fans to be one of the coolest of Godzilla's enemies. But I'm not talking about the monster, I'm talking about the movie itself. Now the movie starts with a pretty cool underwater shot of Godzilla, but after that I think the two primary G-Force soldiers are whiny bitches who seem to change sides in a matter of seconds. Next, supposedly Godzilla is under some sort of mind control by a device shot into his head, which is stupid because it doesn't show at all in the fight scenes or dialogue scenes. Also, Godzilla doesn't look very good. He looks clumsy and has this bitchy whine-like roar, which was in earlier films, but he only does it when he gets hurt. But now he just does it whenever. My final and biggest problem is the fight between Mogara, Space Godzilla, and Godzilla, who barely does nothing except get knocked down by Space Godzilla. It's also so drawn out to the point where you're bored because the humans operating Mogara are the characters you see the most and do the most to stop Space Godzilla. It's stupid, and us G-fans like to see Godzilla kicking ass, not humans who operate a robot that looks like the bastard child of Megalon and Mechagodzilla. I could go on, but we have 4 more to look at, so let's move on. Number 4, Son of Godzilla. This one is considered by some fans to be the worst Godzilla movie ever because of the concept. Godzilla having a son that looks like the mutated Cabbage Patch Kid? But the inspiration came from movies like Son of Dracula and Son of Frankenstein, which I think is the real title, maybe not. Now my problems with this movie have more to do with the monsters than the human characters for this one. First off, Godzilla looks really bad. Thank God this is the only movie he looks like this. He just looks awful. The only redeeming thing on him is the spikes, which they look sharp and curvy. Simply epic. Also, obviously Godzilla's son resembles him in no way, and didn't look good until the much later Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. Disregarding him as Godzilla's son, he still looks really stupid. My last problem with the monsters are the monsters that Godzilla fights. Come on, giant mantises and a fucking spider? That is so uncreative and rips off other monsters like the deadly mantis and the giant tarantula. They're just boring and are stupid looking monsters. The humans are stock characters and have funny and cheesy dialogue. That is some of the appeal in this movie, as well as the scenes with Godzilla and his son, like the infamous tail jumping scene and the fire breathing lesson. That's why it's not number 1, but still one of the worst of the series. Number 3, Godzilla Raids again. This is the second Godzilla movie, and my primary problem with this one is the fact that in the English dubbed version, they confuse the monsters Godzilla and Anguirus so much and don't even call Godzilla Godzilla. They call him Gigantus, even though he's identical to Godzilla from the first movie. How stupid do they think we are? Not much to say about this one, only that for the first time Godzilla fights another monster, he sure does a lot more running away from the army than fighting Anguirus. Half the movie they're looking for Godzilla, and Godzilla and Anguirus fight only twice in the whole movie. This one is one of my least favorite, and when showing these movies to my younger brother, I skipped it and went straight to King Kong vs. Godzilla, which you should do as well. Number 2, we're really in the stupid ones now, Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. The worst thing about this one is the horrid fact that you don't see Godzilla for like an hour, and he's only in about 30 minutes of the movie, and fights 2 of the stupidest monsters in the history of Godzilla, Ebirah and the giant Condor, even though Godzilla fries his ass in about 5 seconds. When you watch this movie as a G-fan, something's rattling around in your mind. Why is Godzilla acting like King Kong? He has a romantic interest with a young human girl and is found sleeping in a cave. Well, Toho wrote this movie with Kong as the primary role at first, but right before production, the company who owned Kong backed out for financial reasons. So just using the same script and simply replacing Kong with Godzilla ruined it for G fans. Now for number 1. I think it's pretty obvious unless you're not a G fan. The one that wins the place in my heart as the dino shit of these 5 shitty movies is Godzilla's Revenge. This movie is the worst Godzilla movie that Toho ever puked out. Everything about it is just awful, down to the dubbing, which is horrible in almost every movie, but this one is most notably horrid. The biggest problem I have is how much damn stock footage there is, and the fact that the 2 movies they take the footage from ranked 4 and 2 on my list. How could they use 4 of the worst Godzilla fights ever and make the only fight that's not stock pit Godzilla and his son against one of the stupidest things in cinematic history? Gabra is just so stupid looking, random, and annoying. The human characters are again stock, and the whole point of all the dream scenes with this kid and with the shortest shorts I've ever seen are to represent a cliched bully and nerd situation. Also, Godzilla's son talking is creepy. Dream or no dream, his mount's animatronics are worse than TMNT 3. So that's my top 5 least favorite Godzilla movies. Again, comment if you agree or disagree, or make your own video to show your least favorite. Also, again, with the exception of the shit that is Godzilla's Revenge, none of these movies are unwatchable and still campy and cheesy monster movies. I try to forget I'm a hardcore G fan when I watch them, so don't feel like I'm wasting my time. So that's my list. Zazubaar out.